welcome to the Hit Drive Time Show. We have an amazing conversation to have today for, um, International Women's Day special edition. It was last week, and we have great conversations to be had. I'm sure there are a lot of things that you would like to speak about specifically as a woman, and talking about all the women around the world and the experiences they have. But either ways, it's nice to meet you, and we're looking forward to hearing what we're going to be saying. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Justina Ovat.
Okay, welcome to the Hit Drive Time Show. This is Justina, and I have Mr.
Patrick Dominic.
Okay, Mr. Patrick Dominic. You're welcome to the Hit Drive Time Show, and my name is Fortune, by the way. Just in
Nice
case
to meet
anyone's
you.
asking. But yes, thank you very much for being here. It was International Women's Day last week, and there were a lot of things that happened. And there were a lot of people who said a lot of things. There were a lot of fun videos that people did, but the question is, where are women at when you're doing International Women's Day at this point, not just in the country but around the world? Where are women at right now? Where would you say women are at right now in terms of their accomplishment, in terms of all the things that around societal gains and what have you?
I would say women are at par with the men. We were trying to get there, but right now I think we're there. We're in boardrooms, we're owning companies, we're captains of industry. We own very thriving businesses. We're employers of labor. We're very good mothers and wives. Even those who are not married are doing their thing. So I believe that women are where, or most women are where they should be, and women who are where they should be are making effort to accelerate.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Emphasis on that particular word, accelerate, because the conversation around women in this context is talking about investment in women and how to accelerate their progress. That means there's already progress being had right now
exactly.
in the industry. So invest and accelerate the progress that's already happening in the industry, right?
Yes.
So can you share with us some ways whereby how people who are listening right now, from different sectors, whether it's in finance, whether it's in academia, whether it's in entertainment as well, how can they be participants to this progress that you would like to see in the industry for women?
I would say if you're in any industry or whatever you're doing, and there's a woman in your ecosystem who isn't doing very well, this is the time for you to identify them, or also identify with them, and find out what's going on with them. Show them what other women are doing, and one of the ways you can accelerate any woman is to let her know her potentials. Most times, some women are not able to identify, but when you look at them from afar, you can see and let them know, I think you can do better. And then show them women who are doing it better, and that can be a good way for them to just kickstart their
Yeah.
process.
Okay. I mean, it seems rather odd that we have a man in the building to talk about a woman's affair, but I'm sure he's an expert, to a level, right? I'm sure you're an expert, and you'll be able to, share with us some things that you think can be done to accelerate female progress, or women's progress in all sectors, and not just within the country but without as well. Can you go ahead and share with us some of those things that you'd like to, see in the industry for
Oh,
women?
okay. I think I've worked with more women than men. I've
That is
organized
the
more.
expertise right there. If you're looking for it.
I've organized more women programs than men programs, even with my boss here. We've had mostly women programs. And then the women have seen so far women who are holding it down in various capacities and living their dreams and living their lives. I feel like the place women are right now, if care is not taken, they are slowly pushing the men out of the citadel of power. And that's because women actually have now realized that they are no longer pushovers. They actually know what they want and they go after it. I've never ever seen a woman as a weaker vessel, because, like I said, it's not easy for somebody to bleed 4 days continuously and you say this person is the weaker vessel. You know, I feel like they are much more stronger than we give them credit for. And the day they realize how strong they are, they will go for the things that looks like it's out of reach. I feel like women should live their dreams, live their lives. They shouldn't allow societal standards to corrupt certain things. If you want to be something, as long as it's good, be that thing. There is no thing that is just made for a man to do or something that's just made for a woman to do. We have male hairdressers everywhere. We have a male doing so many things that women used to do. But I don't encourage men to wear waist beats anyways. All I'm saying is this: that women should go after their dreams, pursue it as much as you want.
And that was a proper way to put it. But there were some things that you said that some people might be like, I don't exactly agree with you on that. But either ways, it is what it is. And, it's always good to see progress anywhere because, you can't take a large chunk of society and exclude them from certain criteria because of, genders and what have you. Say because this one is going to get married and she's going to, be more focused on her kids and all that. There's all that, but I'm not here to talk about it. You're here to talk about it. But yes, if you're listening right now, we're having a sponsored conversation from our friends at the Bridge Leadership Foundation. They're talking about investing in women and accelerating women progress in commemoration of International Women's Day. And, I have one question for you, Miss. Around women growth, there's so many different industries. As he said, there's some industries now that females are pushing us out of it, but we're still trying our best, to still stay there. But there are some industries that are male dominated. Like you can't take anything out of it. And I would say, how would you encourage women to participate in those industries? How would you encourage them to get into it? Because there are industries that say, "Oh, woman is a no-go area for that particular industry." How would you say that you can encourage women to participate in that industry?
I'll start by saying that women should have the proper competencies, just as Patrick had said earlier, because you can't get into a male dominated industry just by flashing a nice smile and the rest of it. So if you have all it takes, you have the capacities, you have competencies, you have the qualifications. One thing I know is that we are beginning to pass the stage or the age where a man would let you into his organization just because he likes you. Men are beginning to look for value, more than anything else. So if you have what it takes, you have the competencies, then of course the men would listen to you, and it will be a good way to get into male-dominated industries. But what industries are still male-dominated? I don't really
I
know.
wanted you to list it.
I don't know which, because the women are beginning to enter everywhere and they're doing it really well. So yeah, women are getting there. The men should give the women all the support. There should be policies that make it possible for women to work in those kind of industries. I know in oil and gas, maybe those who work offshore, it is still a bit difficult, for women to work offshore. I've done it before, so I know what it means or what it takes. So a woman who, if you're a new mother, you're still nursing a baby, then it is definitely not going to be possible to be in such places. We understand that those exceptional situations, but there's really no industry that women are not getting into right now. So if there's any woman who is eyeing any industry, please go there very well prepared with all the qualifications, the capacities, the skills, and everything. And the men will give you your way. I can tell you that for a fact.
Okay, it's coming from directly from her. She's had the experience to prove it. She's not just telling you, empty words of encouragement. She has actually lived those particular lives. Thank you very much, Mr. Justina. And I'm going to pose this one to Mr. Patrick, because he has just talked about how women dominate in certain industries, but can we highlight some of the challenges that women still face today, and how they can overcome some of those challenges in all the sectors that they would like to function within or they already function within? Can you share with us, Mr. Patrick?
I think basically it's down to esteem, like esteem problems. Like most women don't actually believe that they're actually worth getting these things that they want. They actually, it's all in their mind. They play it all in their mind. And I've always said that the number one enemy of a woman is a woman herself. I was scrolling through the Instagram this morning, and then a lady was body shaming another lady, And then I told her that, do you know that you people are like the number one when it comes to criticizing yourself, and then you blame everything on the men. And then so many people came for her and started attacking her. I'm saying that I don't, if a woman has something to prove and she has value, it makes it easier for her to thrive anywhere. Like Mrs. Justina Ovat said, you can't take anything from her. She knows her onion, she knows what she can do. So I've worked with her for donkey years, so I can actually see these things. So I feel like it's all in their mind, it's all in their heads. Nobody's going to stop you from doing whatever it is you want to do, as far as you know your values and you know your boundaries. Your body only suffers when your brain is empty. Once your brain has capacity, your body becomes a selling point, not just for you understand what I'm talking about. So I feel like it's I feel like it's in the mind. Let them work more on their esteem rather than any other thing.
Okay, and that was a very important point. And that quote you stated out, I'm sure there are people scribbling it out, scribbling as they could. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I'm going to move on to Mrs. Justina and ask her, give me your own female version of the challenges that you think, based on the life you've lived, because I'm sure there are places where you've gone to, you face certain challenges that you experienced way back, and the ones that you think are prevalent today, and how you particularly overcame some of those challenges, and how you think other women can do as well.
Usually, I would say that I'm not a good example of or a good person to answer that question, because I'll always tell you I have not faced any challenges.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's the truth. I'm majorly in the tourism industry. It's a male-dominated industry, but I got into the industry with everything I needed to be in the industry, and I can tell you for a fact that it is the men who have been telling me, "Oh, the opportunities here. Can you try this? Can you do this for us?" So most of my clients in the industry are males. So I really cannot. I don't know. I'm sorry for wasting that question. The truth is, I really have not faced. When I hear challenges that women mention, there are challenges where some persons say they don't get paid the same salary because they are women. But then I come from a place where I literally have to tell you how much I have to be paid. Take it or leave it. So that's the problem. That's the challenge I have with the challenge. Because
it's a challenging challenge. I've got to be honest. Thank you very much, Mrs. Justina Ovat. Now, if you're still listening right now, 52 minutes going past 2 right now, that means it's 8 minutes until you get to 3 p.m. I have with me in the studio our friends from the Bridge Leadership Foundation. We are talking about investing in women and accelerating progress. Of course, it's been a very interesting conversation. And if you're female, you're a woman listening right now, there are going to be some very key important things that they'll be sharing with you. Our guests in the studio will be sharing with you very soon. So you don't want to miss even a tiny bit of this particular conversation, because International Women's Day was last week, but we're still carried on to this week, because this is the beginning of a week. And I think it'll be very, very important for every woman listening right now to have that motivation for the rest of the week, and
the month,
in fact, the entire month, right? Thank you very much, Mrs. Justina. Yes, I'm going to ask a few questions before we go into a short break, because I feel like in my head there's some people who are asking these questions. There is investment, of course. There is also strategic investment. You're not just throwing money all around the place, and just people like to see returns on their investment, first of all. So in potential investors listening right now to you and Mr. Patrick talking right now, what are some of those important strategic investment opportunities that men or anybody, whoever, can invest in for women, particularly to drive progress? What are some of those sectors that you think would be very, very strategic investment portfolios for anyone who's listening right now?
Well, first of all, if you identify a woman you want to invest in, you need to also identify what she's good at, right? Because that's potentially what where the return of investment will be. And when we're talking investment now, let's go also beyond the financial investment to other kinds of investment, right? It doesn't always only have to be when you give a woman money to do any kind of business or anything at all. There's also investing in someone, in developing their potential, in also developing their capacity. I'm in the hospitality industry and tourism, so there are various ways in which I invest in women. I have the Gel Foundation, for instance, and we celebrate the ideation series every year. We did our sixth edition on the 7th. So the ideation series is like helping women to move from idea to marketplace. So we have a curriculum. So we're training women. We're saying that if you have an idea, or most women know they want to go into business, but they don't even know where to start. They don't have ideas. So we help them to develop ideas and move from idea to marketplace. But this year, we took it a notch higher by also launching our financial literacy curriculum to help them propel, how to manage the businesses well. And then in the hospitality industry, I'm investing in women by mentorship. So identify potential female leaders. We have more women in hospitality than men, but we have lesser women in management positions in hospitality than men. So my investment in women is to accelerate women to management position. And I've been able to identify about 3 females in the industry who have potential to become managers. And I'm going to be mentoring them for 1 whole year. So that's me investing my time and any other resource that would make that project work. So that's a way in which you can invest in women. I don't have money to take them to schools abroad to become years, but I'm investing my time in them, investing my knowledge, and also investing my network with them. So that's a way in which you can invest.
That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much, Mrs. Justina. Yes, if you're a lady listening right now, and you're thinking of how you can be a participant of this particular opportunity that Mrs. Justina has mentioned, we'll definitely look for how we can, give you the information you need to connect with her and be a beneficiary of that particular opportunity she's mentioned. Thank you very much again, Ms. Justina. Mr. Patrick, now let me ask you, of course, you work in a female space, as you just mentioned. You work with a lot of women. Some people will say you're a man blessed among women, right? That's the line that you use. Am I getting it right or wrong?
Yeah, you're close to it.
Okay. What's the right thing then if I'm close to it?
Okay, I work in the creative industry.
Okay.
So I run a theater house called the Lighthouse Production Hall.
Okay.
And yes, they are mostly dominated by females.
Yeah.
And for us, the creative industry, I think, is like one of the easiest way to blow these days. I've always said something that it's easier for a woman that has sense to blow faster than a man. There was last year, I was telling my wife how I was a bit jealous about somebody that I trained, and she's now writing ideas for Peter Obi. When I saw the girl telling me, I was like, wow, this is wonderful. Me, I still do a different work. So it works faster for them if they really put their mind into it and if they're really good at it. I think society tends to celebrate women who are really conscious about what they want. They tend to celebrate them. For me, what we do is that we give you a ground where you can be yourself. We give you a ground where you can thrive. We give you a ground where you can show the world your talent and what we're all about. Mr. Justina has attended our stage plays, and most of the persons from there, they have gone on to do bigger things and bigger and better things. It's like an exposure ground for them. So like she said, I can't send you abroad, or I can't give you the money that you're looking for, but we can give you the platform to thrive. We can give you the platform to showcase what you truly want to do. And basically right now, we've also delved into the aspect of teaching them how to write scripts for films and all that. So the load is no longer on my head to do these things. So I have people on ground helping to do these things. So as long as you're willing to expand your creative horizon or break into the creative industry, we're always here.
Of course, they're always here. So if you're looking for any ways at any point in time that you might, want to participate in these opportunities, and that has been offered on a platter for you here. I mean, some people would, I wouldn't say kill, but it's not, it's figurative. Some people would kill to have these opportunities, and there are people who are listening and asking themselves, what is there to do? Because we are in a country whereby a lot of people have the mindset of just leaving because there seems to be no opportunities here. And it's not that, a lot of times it's not that there isn't opportunities, it's that they don't know how to identify those opportunities. And some areas that you mentioned, you don't know your talent. You need to know what you're good at,
Yeah.
and look for how you can sharpen and make yourself better at it. And how will you do that? Look for people who can train you and make you better at it. Well, anyways, thank you very much for that answer, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you very
Ms.
much.
Justina. It's exactly 3 o'clock on the hour mark, and we'll just go and take a short break and be right back and give you some very, very important information from our friends at the British Leadership Foundation. I have with me Mrs. Justina Ovat in the building with me. Thank you very much, Mrs. Justina. I have Mr. Patrick Dominic as well here with us. And we'll be right back. We're not done. There's still a lot of things that I've got to ask them. I want to pry into their minds, that pick their brains and get all the information that you on the other side will find very, very important. Just going on a quick music break. This is Simi's Woman, of course. She is a woman who's doing amazing things in the industry, and I think it'll be only right that we play the song in celebration of this conversation and International Women's Day. Here is Simi Woman on the Hit Rock Time Show. We'll be right back. Stick around. Don't go nowhere.
Woman of love, everybody. Money don't like woman, woman don't like woman. She don't be like woman. You don't get any. If woman don't love Mario, then she don't be woman. Woman don't love Mario. She's not
See, is that going to be any point where, sorry, is it going to be any point where you share contact details or how people reach you? Whether it's a website or something.
Okay, yeah, I can.
Because there might be people who are listening on the other side who want to maybe participate in. Or it's not open, is it? Is it?
No, it's not.
It's closed, right?
Yes, that's the thing. But I'm really interested in having maybe up to 7 more, because I have 3 that I have identified. Maybe I can share my email, and then they send an expression of interest. Yes, expression of interest, so I can go through and figure out why they want to, to join, and then communicate with them further to know what they've done, because there's a certain level. You remember we were taking them to managerial positions, so we need to be sure that they've done certain things in the
So you
industry.
reckon we can talk about it when we go back?
Oh, okay, all right.
Mr. Patrick,
We're open.
sorry?
We're open.
You're open, right? Okay.
Ah,
I don't want to take you. I don't want to take anybody by chance.
No.
the last time I was open, I entered call for 2 years.
Okay, we'll talk about it when we go back. Okay. So we're going in. So after all the ice creams and the small chops that you bought for her, and all those things that you bought in celebration of Women's Day that you got for her, the package that you sent to her, and all those things, this particular version of International Women's Day is one that some people did a few very interesting things for their the women in their lives, and not just sending messages, they did other things. But while we're still talking about that, we could also, talk about investing in the women around you, not just, buying them those things that they will eat and, be out of their system in no time. Long-term investment, sustainable investment, long-lasting things. They say, I think the word is, I keep forgetting that line, but it's train a woman and you train a generation. I think it's something along that line.
That's true.
I'm messing it up. I'm not quoting it, but I think that's along the lines of what exactly they were talking about. So that is, if you train a woman, you're not just training her, you're training her kids, and her kids are going to train their own kids. That's a generation that you're training.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really, really important, because no one is ruling out men. I'm a man, so of course I'm going to be like, why is this specifically for females? But I understand the importance, because I'm someone who have a strong female figure in my life, and I know how important it is for you to have those things, even if you're a man around you, because it gives you an understanding of what you need to do to help out in any way that you can. But before I start rambling on, I'm just going to go on, ask a few questions that people on the other side are dying to have asked on the show, because we're still talking about investing in women and accelerating progress, not just in a particular sector, but in all sectors. So one more question that I would like to put out for you is sustainable investment in women. Not today, you support her today, and then next year she's in a completely different place and looking for how to start up again. Most important thing that people would like to ask right now is, how is it that you can invest in women sustainably and in a long-lasting way? What are some of the ways that people listening on right now can do to have that long-lasting investment and have a woman receive investments that would make an impact and not just fizzle out into thin air?
I said earlier that it's important that you identify what the woman is interested in, and possibly what she's good at, because it has to start from a place of interest and move to passion, and then you move from passion to profit. So it's really important that if you decide to invest in any woman, you should first of all have a talk with her, and to try to know where she's at right now, and whatever it is she has decided to do or she's interested in, you need to do an analysis, to figure out how far this thing is. Because most times you start something and it's looking all rosy and nice, but within, down the road, you now discover that it is way more than what it is. This is, right? And then you find people abandoning projects. That's the human abandoning people. The women they're trying to carry along. And I don't know if it's the same with the men. But I know since they say women are emotional, in the true sense of it, not in the way in which you're trying to talk down a woman and say she's being emotional. Not that. I don't know why Patrick is laughing. Not in that sense. In the true sense of being emotional. And then somebody looks at herself at this level at this point, but because the process was not started well, and that project has to now be truncated, halfway. So it's important that you understand what you're getting into. Like I go back to my mentorship project that I'm planning to carry out now. I know that for a fact, if I start, I have the criteria. I need women who have been in the industry, for a certain number of years. And they also must have worked in particular departments. Like I need to see your progression. I need to see how you've climbed the ladder, in your organization. Even if you have worked in a particular department for a number of years, I want to also see the value you've added to that department. And then have some conversations to see how you can, if you have potential to become a manager, and then we'll take it from there. Begin to give you all the skills you need, training on skills, the proper other things that comes with being, the managerial position, and then getting you in contact with maybe internship, for in other places that you can get more ideas and more knowledge. So it's the whole. I have to map out the entire 9 years of what this program is. So that's the same thing I'll tell anybody who is trying to invest in a woman, right? map out, design the entire concept, the entire process, and be sure that you're taking the woman from point A to the required point, and in between, everything that has to happen in between, you are ready for it, and you have the capacity to make it happen.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Justina. And of course, I'm going to pose that particular question to Mr. Patrick very soon. But, right now, 9 minutes gone past 3. If you're listening, we're having a sponsored conversation from our friends at the Bridge Leadership Foundation. I have with me in the studio Mrs. Justina Ovat and Mr. Patrick Dominic. Of course, we're talking about accelerating women progress and investing in women at the same time. Not just investing, but investing that would give them an edge. So, Mr. Patrick, this question is for you. How can we ensure that investments in women are sustainable and long-lasting, and have long-lasting impact? What are some of the ways that, we can, anyone who's listening can make that into a possibility?
I think sustainability is down to the person than the person trying to sustain the business. Okay, let me put it this way. If I invest a particular thing in you, I think it's down to you to pursue it and see it to the end. Because anything that you're not interested about in the long run will automatically crumble. Basically, there are some people who think they know what they want until they start on that path, and then they find out that it's just money they want. And so if the money is not coming in 3-4 months, they just get tired. So people need to understand, is it, do I want to create value where I become a hot cake? Because I always tell people that once your value is noticed by everybody, it makes it easier for you to assess anything. So some persons do not want to take the long route of getting trained, being skillful. They just want to make money immediately. I used to do online classes for scriptwriting at a point, and then my wife now asked me to stop. And why? She said you need to get to a point where you have results that it's feasible, that people just see it and know that, okay, this is the guy that wrote for the Johnsons, this is the guy that did this. So when I put out a writing class there, nobody argues about the price. So basically, apart from the fact that we want people to actually go through this business and stay in the business, it has much more to do with the person involved. The person needs to want this more than me investing in the person. The person needs to desire it. The person needs to be willing to go through the whole entire training. That's why we have so many people who, in quote, are CEOs with no level of professionalism, because they just got through there by, oh, yes, I can do this gig, I can do this gig, I can do this gig. And we've had more of them in the long run. We've seen more of them. Like during one of our programs, we saw one who was supposed professional. Until today, we have not seen the videos for the event and all that. So basically, I think people need to sustain this thing. You have to become good at it. You have to become passionate about it. You have to become extremely talented about this thing. So it makes it easier. There's one person I always refer to. His name is Del Faro. Harmony. We all know him. Harmony is hard to ignore, no matter how hard you want to do it, because he has gone through series of training to where he is right now. So are you willing to go through the training? Are you willing to break your backs, break your neck to make sure that you become good at this thing? So until that person does that, we'll just be pouring water on the back of the fowl, because they'll shrug it off. So it has more to do with training than investing. It's a rich man that will invest in a girl that he likes. It's a responsible man that will invest in a girl that he wants to see grow.
He keeps dropping those points.
He's a writer. He's a writer. What do you expect?
I mean, it's absolutely perfect. It's very, very, very important, those things, because those are words that you can convert into words of affirmation and just use to build up and do bigger things. But yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Patrick. I hope there's plenty more where that came from, wherever it's coming from. I hope you keep up with it. But yes, thank you very much again, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you.
Still the Hit Draw Time Show fortune is here. I'm here with my special guests, Mrs. Justina Ovat and Mr. Patrick Dominic from the Bridge Leadership Foundation. We're talking about investing in women and accelerating progress, in commemoration of International Women's Day. Of course, next question I have for you, Mrs. Justina, is around myths that people have, concerning investing in women. Maybe there's some certain hush myths that people use to tell other people away from investing in women. You don't have to mention the myths, because some people know them and they have it at the back of their mind. But Can you share with us how any of the myths that you've heard or you might like to debunk that in the industry about investing in women, particularly? They say, oh, don't invest in a woman. She eat your money. Don't invest in a woman. She's not serious. Don't invest in a woman. She'll run away and, go and marry a man and something along that line.
The thing is, women are created to be taken care of. That's the number one.
Okay.
Yeah, I was having a conversation on Facebook a couple of days ago. When we're talking about people saying don't. I think it's around not investing in women because they don't bring anything to the table. That's bringing things to the table kind of conversation. I can't remember now. If I had my phone, I would have opened to Facebook. So the lady was communicating something like that, and I did agree with her. That because my own argument was that I'm trying to be careful how I put this, but in quotes, right? Let me put it air quotes now. I don't want to be. I'm not an independent woman. Let me say it that way, and that's because I want to make my money, but I still want to eat my husband's money. You understand? So there is no time in which I want to be an independent woman. There's no time in which I want to be the man in a relationship. Like, why exactly? Why exactly? You understand? Women are meant to be taken care of. So if you say don't invest in a woman because she will eat your money, okay. So when you're interested in a woman, keep the investment money and keep the enjoyment money. You understand? So if you divide and separate. I'm amused at how Patrick looking at me. You understand, Patrick? So this is me in advising all men. You understand? If you want to invest in a woman, women want to be taken care of. That we are made to be taken care of. It's natural. It's a given. So keep the two investments aside, right? While you are investing in the woman, so that there is no mix up, right? That she has eaten the investment money. Just separate them. And then I'm sure everything will be all right if you do it that way. This is just me saying that.
Yeah.
So trying to debunk that myth. This is also not saying that there are women who don't waste investments. There are a lot of women who don't waste the investment. But if you have a conversation with a woman ab initio, and as we have all agreed that it starts from a place of interest, she must be first of all interested in doing that. Sometimes, a lot of times, you see people doing different things. They say, it is what they paid for me to do. It is what they say that I should do. There's always a day in between who says the woman should do something. But you forget that women are passionate about different things. So start from there. Help them identify their interest. Help them identify their purpose, And then let's also, as much as possible, remind people of the saying that this was from Miles Monroe, that the worst thing to happen to you is not death, but to live a life without purpose. The first time I came across that quote, I'm just trying to be like Patrick now, The first time I came across that, it was quite touching. But if everybody understands that, they will do better for themselves. So, in summary, help the women identify their potential. Let them know what is in them that they themselves cannot see. Patrick talked about helping people to hammer. See, there's some person that even if you put dynamite on their head, they will not hammer.
True.
But you just need to show them the proper direction, not the dynamite on their head. So we need to be careful. We need to also be considerate, especially in times like this, where I am scared to be bringing up children in this day and time. It is a very scary thing. It puts a lot of pressure on parenting. If you're not doing purposeful, parenting and deliberate parenting, then there's going to be a lot of problems for you. So if you decide to invest in a woman, please do the extra effort of ensuring that it starts in a very good note.
Thank you very much, Mr. Justina. You've almost done it, but there's a tiny voice in my head or somewhere that's saying, if you want to challenge me direct. I don't know if it's coming from Mr. Patrick. But Mr. Patrick, I'm sure there's something you like to, say concerning what you just shared with us, so that we can wrap up the
Yeah,
conversation.
I understand those myths, and I think that even with men, there are men who you invest in and you will not see anything from the investment. I feel like those myths are mostly made by people who I don't think it's an investment outrightly. I think they just give these women money most times without any clear directions. Oh, go and start a fish farming business. No training, nothing, and then you expect her to excel in it. So I think both parties are to be blamed in that aspect because I have seen men who have wasted investments not once, not twice. So I don't think I feel like the myth is wrong. I feel like it's down to humans in general because I've seen women who do right with investments more than men in certain capacities. Like somebody like me, if you give me money to invest right now, I'll give the money to my wife because I'll definitely waste it. I don't know how to keep money. I don't know how to, I know how to make the money. I don't know how to multiply the money. I feel like there are some women who have that grace. There's one story you told me once like that about your husband, about an ex, so let me not say. So I feel like there are some women who have that grace to do those things, and there are some women who will outrightly waste your money. So it's not a human thing. I think it's a human thing.
Interesting. Another one-liner. You've heard it, and yes, I think that is the perfect way for us to wrap up the conversation. But this is Justina. If there's something you'd like to share and how people, can reach out to you, there's a means of people can reach out who want to participate in anything that you have to offer. Is there something like that?
Okay, yes. Usually, the events of the Geo Foundation are adequately publicized at our website and our Instagram handles too. But for the mentorship program to accelerate women in the hospitality industry, um, any woman who is interested can send me an expression of interest email to justiceovat@gmail.com. Just tell me why you should be a part of my mentorship program. It's 1 year. So at the end of 1 year, maybe we'll come back to the British Leadership Foundation to give a report of how we've been able to accelerate the women. So this is me giving myself accountability now, right?
Yeah,
Yes, this is
yeah,
me making myself accountable.
yeah.
So if you are interested, you've worked in the hospitality industry for a while, just send me an expression of interest email to justiceovat@gmail.com. And
I really wish we had more time to talk about this particular conversation because if you start, you never run out of things to talk about.
that's true.
Because it's really a very important thing. And something Mr. Patrick said, I'm not going to share my own because he refused to share his own. Some men are just not naturally talented with money, with how not just they can make the money, but they don't know how to use the money to get
More
something
money.
that will be long lasting. So it's just understandable that he says that. Madam, just think, I'll
Just
make the
think.
money and just give you. But yes, if you're one of those types of people, it's very, very important to know the right ways to invest and not just giving the woman the money, but knowing the right ways to invest and the right things to support her for. Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick. Is there something you'd like to share on how people can reach out to?
Okay, they can call me on my phone number. I don't have issues with it.
If you'd like to.
Yeah, it's 070-3814-9283. 070-3814-9283.
Okay, thank you very much. We've had our special guest from the British Leadership Foundation. Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick Dominic. And thank you very much, Mrs. Justina Ovat. I had a great time. I know other people on the other side had a very, very great time as well. And these, important conversations, whether you laugh about it, they're very, very important things because, that's one way where we don't just move ourselves, but the country as a whole. When we make the right investment in women as a whole. And Mr. Patrick, the one-liners, I wish they could keep coming, but we've got to run. And thank you very much from our friends at the British Leadership Foundation for making this possible.